As part 2 of our combating NPCism and apathy challenge, I want to share with you some research on this particular religious order founder, John Papzinski. And the most important thing is the note that I've made here, that they drove him crazy with an overwhelming amount of trauma, then gave him a church, which is the pattern of the church. They, people who are qualified and ordained by the church are usually crazy and have demonstrated their willingness to go above and beyond to meet the need they have of maintaining this trauma mill. But I'll try to get close so that you can read these in their entirety, but I want to focus on this part right here. By God's grace, he was to be known as Father Stanislaus of Jesus and Mary Papzinski, founder of the Marians. So that is why I've listed up here dissociative identity disorder, which is the more recent clinical name for multiple personality disorder. And then down here, it says the Marian devotion of Saint Stanislaus particularly focused on the Immaculate Conception, and this was some 2 centuries before the dogma would be declared by the Church. He wrote, "I believe everything that the Holy Roman Church believes, but first of all, I profess that the most holy Mother of God, Mary, was spotless from original sin the moment of her conception." And then I'll skip over here where he wanted to start his own order. So with new applicants swelling their ranks, the Marians awaited papal approval for the new order. Pope Innocent the 12th's approval came in 1699, initially placing the Marians within the Franciscan family of religious life. No longer living the lives of hermits, they took solemn vows according to the French rule of the 10 virtues of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and the order continued a slow growth. With the death of the founder in 1701, the Marians found themselves in a critical period of transition. Internal factions divided the membership into one group favoring a strictly contemplative life and a second group seeking to add missionary and pastoral outreach to the order's contemplative spirit, which is also the pattern. They start, you start a church, it's successful, and then they start splitting it up and taking over. and then they get rid of you. Now, this goes together with a video that I came across on 60 Minutes Australia, which I'll show you a clip from now.
Excitement amongst his loyal followers still living at the Camberwara cult compound is building, with news their leader seems likely to be allowed home for Christmas.
Our lady now is turning her head.
Strict orders have kept him on a very tight leash after he served 9 years jail for child sex offences, prevented from going to the Order of St Charbel near Nowra. The state says he's at serious risk of reoffending if he's allowed back amongst the people who believe he's innocent to the very hunting ground where he groomed his victims in the 90s.
Do you now accept what you did to those young girls was wrong?
No.
His Twitter and Facebook accounts have been shut down by police. The court also hearing his followers paid $100,000 to a teenage girl who left her concerned family in New Zealand, sponsoring her for a student visa. She's now a staunch believer, living at the Camberwara compound.
2 police officers were recently called to his inner city apartment here on Sussex Street. Inside, they found the young teenager standing in his apartment. They say that she had childlike mannerisms and was holding a toy. It wasn't until they ran background checks that they confirmed she was actually 19 years of age.
All indications are the judge will, in the coming days, grant Little Pebble's wish to be back with his followers. Evan Batten, 7 News.
Wearing the cloak of a holy man, Cam has been grooming and destroying families for decades. Stephanie was just 8 or 9 when she and her sisters first met the false preacher in her hometown of Munich in the late 80s on one of his world tours. And when you reflect on it, did he target you?
Oh, yes. Yes. We weren't a wealthy family, so he took us places and it was like, oh, goodness, okay, this man is spoiling us. Eventually, when he came to Germany, he would stay in our little apartment.
And little wonder Stephanie felt overwhelmed. She was just 11, had just flown in from Germany and spoke little English. But she and her family were about to be reunited with eldest sister Bettina, who had flown to Australia the year before to be with Cam. She was pregnant with his child. Were you in love with him?
Oh, I was madly in love with him. I was madly in love with him. He was my world.